go back to ancient Egypt, to ancient Canaan, and for the record, the blacks of Canaan were the one who gave the Jews. Well, I won't say they gave it to the Jews. I think the Jews took it. They were responsible for the religion, the language, and the culture and so forth of the Jews. You see? These African people were the ones that were responsible for civilization. And when we reach back to them across the ages to find out what did they know, what did they accomplish that can help us out of the misery that we're suffering today, that can help us to liberate ourselves, we find the most important message is that, you see, before you can do anything, you must know yourself. You see? And by self-knowledge, I'm not talking about yourself as a black man, I'm talking about yourself as man. Okay? Once you understand yourself as man, then you can understand yourself as a black man. And I'm saying, when I say man, I'm speaking in the general term. And once you understand yourself as man, you can then understand your enemy. And until you see you have understood man, you will not be able to accomplish anything in this world. So before I speak about the way out of this, because the Holocaust that we are suffering was foretold in our ancient scriptures. Okay? We have books that were written thousands of years before the Hebrew was even born. Before Abraham was even born, we have thousands of scriptures that we wrote. You see? And when we take the time to read some of these scriptures, the Perpim Heru, for example, the Leshem Duat, we discover that there is an understanding of man that is so profound, you see, that will enable you to avoid and solve all problems. You find that there was a prophesizing of what was going to take place today and the way out of it. So let me first go to the board here, because we're going to need some visuals to follow this discourse, and so that I can refer back and forth to the basic principles. Here we have a simplification of one of the most revolutionary pieces of insight that has ever been created by man. This is the tree of life. You cannot practice medicine without a science of anatomy and physiology. Without anatomy and physiology, how could you refer to the heart, to the veins, to the capillaries? You with me? You have to have an understanding of the structure of the body before you can understand and explain what is wrong and how to fix it. You with me? You cannot speak about the spirit if you don't have an understanding of the various parts of the spirit. This structure here we call the tree of life. It is called the tree of life. For the simple fact that, you see, it is a classification system upon which we can classify all the things that exist in the world. Once you study this and you master this system here, you will discover that everything that exists can be classified in one of these 10 spheres. Okay? It has been used to classify the faculties governing man's behavior. Okay? The parts of man's spirit. Until you understand the human spirit, you can understand what makes man behave the way he does. Okay? Before I explain it, let me go to one more little diagram here to show you why this is important. The line is water. The little peak jutting up above the water is the top of the iceberg. What's beneath is the bottom of the iceberg. You're familiar with that, right? Okay? This is symbolic. The top part, C, is symbolic for the conscious mind. The larger part is responsible for the subconscious mind. You see the difference in the size of the two. What we mean by that is that the subconscious has greater weight, greater power in your life over the conscious part of your being. The conscious part, that little puny little part jutting out above the water, is where you wish, where you express your desires, where you will for things to happen. You see? This biggest part beneath there is what controls what is going to happen, is what decides what is going to happen in your life. Suppose you want freedom. You see? Your wanting freedom is expressed in the conscious part of your mind, that little part up there. But the power to achieve freedom is in the subconscious part of your mind.